Okay. Let's see. Are we or are we not?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We are.
All right. So we're live.
So give
That's
me one
very
second.
exciting. And there's hi everybody. Welcome to the hot seat. We're back after missing 2 sessions because I'm stupid and I can't figure out technology. But we've got it figured out, and we're here now. Very happy to talk to Tiffany about what she's up to. But before then, I just want to say thank you to everybody who helped us get our ranking up for iTunes. You'll be very excited to know that we are now ranked at 185 in entrepreneurship in Germany in iTunes. That's incredibly exciting. Also, a couple of other quick notes. If any of you are interested in advertising on the Loveline for Business podcast, talk to us. It's free. We sort of weave it into the podcast in a way that only Greg Johnson can figure out. He's very classy at it. You should really try it.
Seamless.
Seamless. That's exactly the word I was looking for, but I couldn't come up with it. What you also could do to really help us is rate and review us in iTunes. I know that a number of you already have. That's really got us very, very excited. So thank you for that. But if you can help us with that, that would be great. If you'd like to be a guest either here on the hot seat or to come on Loveline for Business, go to lovelineforbiz.com and you'll see a button there to see our schedule. We'd love to have you on. It doesn't matter whether you're just starting out and trying to figure out what kind of business to start, or you're in the middle of one and you're stuck and you don't know what to do next. All of these things are relevant, and I'm sure we can help out in some way. And then finally, don't be a dope. If you haven't already, buy Ryan's book. It's dope. All right, now that we got all those messages out of the way, Tiffany, welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, thank you guys both very much. As Myra has dubbed you now both Breg, for the opportunity. I mean, these are kind of some crazy times, and it's nice to know that as the community is is reaching out and giving back, 'cause it's easy to get lost in the sauce, especially now. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing here.
It's a pleasure. We get. I can speak for myself, and I think I speak for Greg. We get at least as much out of it as the people that come on here or on the podcast. It's an education every single time, and we're all just human beings trying to figure out how to be human beings, which isn't always easy, and is a lot easier to do it when you're doing it together than when you're trying to do it by yourself.
Well, and that in and of itself has been a hard lesson to learn, because I've always been of the type that, yes, I can go it alone. I'm my own island. I'm my own, I can do anything, and I'm going to do it all by myself. And and after hitting enough brick walls, I realized, hey, wait a minute, maybe that's not the best way to go about doing this.
It's interesting. It seems to be something that a lot of people that are entrepreneurs or are feel called to be entrepreneurs, it's something we all get stuck in, because it sort of starts with us thinking, okay, what can I do by myself so that I know maybe it's control or something else, but we a lot of us seem to suffer from the same thing. And you're right, it takes a while before you figure out that you might be able to do it by yourself, but do you really need to?
Well, right. And I think there's a component of trust, which is part of what took me so long to get here, is because I try to share and then I'm told I'm crazy, or I try to share and then I'm taken for everything that I have. I try to share and it's don't quit your day job. Well, unfortunately, I lost my main day job, so I'm kind of don't have a whole lot of recourse other than to try to find another day job. And the thought of that, of going back to what I was doing, is more exhausting than being flat broke, which says a lot. So I was kind of tiptoeing and tap dancing and kind of joined the 1% around January. And after listening to Ryan's interview with Dr. Jen Tempo on the Money Revealed series, him and Jeff Hayes production, I have a lot of respect for them. And when I saw Ryan's interview, it was just a light bulb went on, like, hey, wait a minute, maybe I don't need to do this by myself. Who is this guy? What are these people he's talking about? I need to know more. And so it was kind of, maybe curiosity killed the cat, because it was, maybe I can trust these people. Maybe I can trust these brands. Maybe I can try again. And a few months in, boom, my job goes by. And it's like, oh, hold on a minute here. Now I have to do something. Now there is no, well, put a big toe in the water. It's dive in head first or move halfway across the country and get a different job.
So Tiffany, we should back up a little bit and tell us what you were doing, what it is that you want to do, and we'll go from there and see what we can figure out.
Sure. Well, I mean, I was called Cat Lady before I ever had a cat. I was 8 years old when I did my first cat anatomy and physiology research paper to try to convince my parents to get a cat. And it kind of went from there. But I found myself in the Army as an Arabic linguist. I've been in several prison camps, and I just, after that, I kind of shut down. I didn't, and the only ones who were with me at that time were my cats. Everyone else was frustrated and upset with me because I went from having a really great income as a contractor, as a linguist, to rock bottom. And so no one could understand. But I knew there was something more. And I reinvented myself, because I love to write. I reinvented myself as a proposal writer, so I could still kind of stay in the government contracting space and still do, and still kind of be in that world, kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but I could also work from home. So after much trial and tribulation, I sort of got there and sort of satisfied, but year after year after year, contracts expired, termination for convenience of the government. There was no stability. And at every turn, I had my cats and then I had my dogs, and I was learning about things. They started, the cats I was rescuing off the streets in South Carolina, they were dying left, right, and center. I didn't know what was going on. It was absolutely traumatizing. I was at wit's end because my own cats then were getting sick and dying, and it was just insane. And every vet that I talked to, just put them down and start over. Put them down. Don't bother. Don't waste your time. They have AIDS. They have leukemia virus. They have this. They have that. And I wasn't satisfied with that. But meantime, I have this job over here calling my name, that in order to be able to feed all the neighborhood animals and do all of these things, that I had to have the job. So I started getting better at the job, but meanwhile, all these animals are still dying. And the neighborhood, these people don't know what's going on. They can barely afford to feed their own kids. They don't care about these animals, so they throw them on my doorstep. And I'm pulling puppies out of storm drains on Thanksgiving Day because the dog catcher won't come out and get them. And I rescued a kitten from a barrel some kids set on fire. Like, it's so I've kind of been running I feel like I've been running kind of a double life. I have this income, this job on this one hand that I've been doing, that's making money and feeding and support my family. But now, over the past few years, I've learned through much trial and error how to, while working on figuring out how to stop these cats from dying, I've been transforming my own health. and my own kids' health and everything as well. And it's been a truly incredible journey. And and now I'm pretty much, I don't think that there's anyone in the United States that could say that they have the number of cats that I have living with the diseases that they have that are still alive, to include the feline coronavirus. It's highly contagious, highly deadly. But I found a way for them to live, and it affects millions of cats every year. And I've found through dietary protocol and lifestyle things, I found ways to give them a healthy and supportive life. My vet doesn't believe me. I've been doing tests, like you've been trying to do tests, because they're all supposed to be dead. They're not. They're thriving. I lost one fairly recently because I didn't know.
So just let me interrupt you, because I just want to see if I can figure out sort of where you're going with this. So what you're really saying is, so you have this whole evolution of how you got involved in rescuing animals, and you while doing that and dealing with like these very, very sick animals, you've discovered ways of treating them that conventional veterinary medicine is unaware of. And while doing that, you've also, as a byproduct, discovered that you're able to address like human diseases, and you've seen that in the health of your family. Is that correct?
Correct.
And
yes.
Now, so what would you like? I mean, that's incredible. What would you like to do with that?
Well, I started in following through with the $1 Million Brands training. I've identified I identified my person, my people, which is essentially myself, which is why I named the brand Moms, Cats, and Kids. It pretty much speaks for itself. But I started really trying to get into the weeds to learn to learn more about these families and their pain points, and what specifically with these diseases, what are they coming up with on a daily and weekly basis. And it's certain areas I've had positive feedback, in others it has been brutal.
I'm sorry. So what kind of families? Families with sick cats, or families with sick cats and sick humans? I mean, what are you looking for a way to sort of spread what you found about how to treat felines, or are you trying to address it more holistically?
Well, it's actually a combination. My first inroad is my first inroad, stage one, is with cats, because what I have found is that people, especially moms, being so busy and so we always put ourselves last, that if I get someone to understand that they have the capacity to heal their cat and show them these things, a lot of the same things that can heal your cat can also heal you. And it's not that expensive, and it's not that hard. It just takes consistency and knowing, knowledge. I firmly believe knowledge is power. And so there are products available. There are things that I'm trying to develop, a cat food line, things like that, to actually help these families to be able to help their cats. And in the process, these things can also, there are products within this that already exist on the market that can help families whose kids are also suffering from certain things to benefit from. So it's a multi-stage, sort of multi-purpose thing. I'm creating a solution for people who have families with sick cats, but also with the understanding, with the undercurrent, that if you can be empowered to heal your cat, you can be empowered to heal your kids and be empowered to heal yourself.
All right. So how do you go from that to how are you finding? I'm just trying to see how we go from that and talk about getting practically from not having a business to trying to get to a point where you start having a business. Unless that, yes. Right? I mean, that's what you're trying to do, right?
Yes, that is correct. I started with an ebook specifically about cats with these specific diseases. I wrote that. That was essentially, now I will be using that like sort of as my give, because I don't want it's certain things. I mean, these can be life and death situations. I've had people messaging me crying in the middle of the night, trying to get help because they can't get it anywhere else, and the Facebook people are shutting them down. So, like that, with the sense of urgency that's there in some of these cases, I just decided that to let that be my give, and then develop products on the journey that these families would need from there. And because my resources are so very limited, I decided to start with something that every cat family would have, which would be litter. I found a solution to an age-old problem that anyone with cats have, and that's easy for me to put together at a very minimal cost. And I've already got several people in the 1% that have agreed to be beta testers for this. So I'm moving that along. I'm not letting the limited resources, it's easy for me to sit on the sidelines and say, now I'm virtually unemployed. I don't have this, I don't have that. I'm not making excuses. So I'm just going to go ahead with what I have. And I found a really straightforward, simple solution that could help a lot of people with their cats, because the litter is the most disgusting thing of having a cat. And I found a way to improve it. So I'm going to start with that. and go from there. But really, to your point, it's sort of the process of okay, I'm at the point of ideation now. How am I really supposed to get in front of these people? And because there's a lot of platform censorship and limitation right now, especially you mentioned anything with coronavirus and you're censored. Well, that's part of what I'm dealing with right now with the cats and trying to help people with their animals. Like, people who are in this space, they know all about the coronavirus, feline coronavirus is nothing new. But now, because of the human version making its presence, no, now it's, I can't get any reach. I can't get any out. As soon as I mention the word, my reach is cut.
But one, if it's already known that you need to mention that specifically? I mean, you could hit talking about the details when you share the guide, or when you talk to people one-on-one, or what have you. But when you're trying to reach out, is it necessary for you to be specific about what kind of feline disease that you have experience with, as opposed to being more general? And how does that connect necessarily to the litter? And maybe what I really need to ask is, I mean, what would you like to do with your business, regardless of whether you're selling kitty litter, or who knows, scratching posts, or cat food, or what have you? What is it that you're trying? What kind of business would you like to build?
The products business is a huge component of it, and also the information, the information side of it.
But
it's.
I'm sorry. Let's try and think about the question again, because you're answering in things that you're trying. I'm giving out information.
Okay.
I'm doing products. That's not what I'm asking.
Okay.
What would you like to? Why do you want to have this business? What would you like to do with it?
Okay. Well, I want families to be empowered, to be able to heal themselves as a family is my ultimate goal. To have the knowledge, to have the tools, to have what they need to along their journey to wellness, of what that looks like for them.
All right. So you want to promote healthy families, and there's lots of ways to achieve that. The way that you've discovered is by exploring pet health and specifically feline health, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's then what how, so what's stopping you from doing that?
I'm moving forward in bits and pieces. Really, it's been my mindset. A lot of it has been me that's been stopping me, of thinking that maybe this is not the greatest idea, or maybe if I could just sell spatulas, maybe if I had a cool little gadget or something, or a series of gadgets, maybe that would be, I could get more profit. I could white label something and get going faster. I mean, this is ground level stuff. This is like really getting down to the nitty gritty, and at times getting very personal, because these are all, I'm sharing lab results with the veterinarian offices about my own animals, and things that I'm doing is on public display. I mean, what I'm feeding and what I'm recommending and doing, and my own health. I can't recommend to somebody that this is how, I'm moving on this path of wellness if I'm not at a certain place. So it's just been a lot of self-criticism, a lot of self-doubt, that it's okay, well, this is a path, but I've been told that I was crazy so many times. Maybe I really am. And so that's been me. I'm working through that, but honestly, that has been a huge holdup, and that is why no matter what, I've stayed apart with the 1%, because I know I'm not the only one who's been told that. I know I'm not the only one who's faced setbacks.
Right.
So,
I mean, you can be both crazy and right at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. That's one. Secondly, I mean, if you're open to sharing what you're experiencing, that doesn't mean that you're now telling everybody else you have to do what I'm doing. What you can do is just by sharing, this has worked for me, this has worked for me, this is what I've seen in my cats, dealing with it, helping them out this way I've observed this effect on me and my family, and then allow your audience to draw their own conclusions. That's one way of going about it. I mean, the fact that you still have things to figure out, and you still have self-doubt, and you question whether this is the right path. Welcome to the rest of humanity. We all do this. It doesn't matter how put together we present ourselves. Everybody is always asking themselves, did I make the right decision? Could I have done more? And that might be someone who has not sold a damn thing, or someone who's already sold, selling $1 million a year, and is worried about what's happening in China, or am I on Amazon? Should I also go on Shopify? And it doesn't matter where you get. There's always going to be more things that you can ask yourself whether or not you're doing the right thing. And most people I know have that to one level or another. It's just part of being a human being. But I mean, I wouldn't let that stop me from, if I wanted to put that message out there, I wouldn't stop that. But I'm still trying to figure out how that ties in with you wanting to turn that into a business, because I'm hearing two different things. I'm saying, okay, I could sell cat spatulas. Let's call it the kit, right? All sorts of cat spatulas. It's kind of cat related, and maybe that's fine, right? I mean, if you can address your emotional need, what your soul says you need to do, by helping out families, by talking about cat diseases, treating them, and the positive effects that has on your health and your family's health. And then you say, yeah, and I'm selling, in order to fund this, I'm selling all these cat spatulas. If you're serving a community, they'll be more than happy to buy your kitty litter and your scratching posts and your cat food, because if you're not asking them to pay for all of the cat life advice, then they'll be happy to pay for something else. But is that what you're trying to do? I'm right. I mean, Greg, what do you think? I mean, that's what I'm I'm sort of
Let me
struggling.
take a detour. Tiffany, can I clarify something? You mentioned you've kind of discussed some of this stuff in Facebook groups, and I know that that includes the 1%. But are there other? Do you have your own group, or are there other cat health groups that you are a part of where you're sharing some of this information right now?
Yes, actually, yes, I am. I started with Facebook is simply because it's what I know, and I have been shut down so hard so many times, and by people who just the solution is not what I have nothing to offer because I'm not a licensed veterinarian, and so that has been so I decided that I did an about face. That okay, if I will go where I'm welcome, or I'll create my own thing.
Mhm.
And actually, um, Duncan, I think it was yesterday, actually just introduced me to this whole content creation group, something that's like similar to Facebook without the censorship thing. And he's building a community for dogs. And so we're looking at ways to work together and everything on that. And so that is actually where I'm the community that I've been establishing through Facebook and through other people and other channels and stuff will start directing towards that group to be able to speak freely without censorship. And so I'm just creating my own. I had a lot of doubts about that at first, but when I saw what Duncan was doing, I realized, wait a minute, there's no reason, like, this is what I need. I need to have a platform where I can truly share without being called all kinds of names. So because it gets vicious, and I don't. That's not what I'm about. I want to share, and there are people who private message me and all this, and please help, but I can't. I'm fighting an uphill battle because I don't own the space. So yes, I am, and I've been part of other symposiums like at UC Davis and other things like that. I've been educating myself and trying to work with some other companies, and there are a few influencers in this space, not so much wellness, but I mean pretty much everybody knows who Jackson Galaxy is, the my cat from hell cat daddy guy. And so I've been following a lot of what he's doing, and I've been to a couple of his events, and so I'm learning conversationally how he handles things and does things in this community because it's a very peculiar one. So yes, I am. I'm also on the back end. Just I'm trying to learn.
Okay. I'm going to throw a couple ideas out.
Okay.
There are some comments here also that I want to share. So I'm going to throw this at you, and then I think that will potentially help you to answer the question that Bram asked. So I'm going to throw out some ideas, and we'll see if any of them stick or resonate with where you are right now. So it sounds like you have a lot of content to share. You have a lot of information that you can share that will help people in their lives right now, but people don't believe you. Is that accurate? Or there are people who distrust what you say and they want to shut you down so you can't spread your message?
Yeah, they don't think it's possible because of their own negative experiences. Yes.
Okay. So you want to create a safe space, like a group on a different platform, it sounds like, where you can collect people that do want to hear what you have to say. And it sounds like you can be very successful there just by sharing what you know and what you have learned from your own experiences, and just give all the information away for free so that people are helped immediately. And then when you have a product developed, like you have an improvement to kitty litter that helps with one of these specific problems, it should be very, very easy to launch that product to that group of people who have already bought into everything you're saying. This is very similar to what Dave Asprey did with Bulletproof Coffee. So he
Wow. Okay.
He let people know how dangerous moldy coffee was, and then he provided the solution in mold-free coffee. So you're doing something very similar. You're going to share the information that you've learn from your own experience with people and say, based on what I've learned, a product like this should work a lot better than anything else out there. And I'm developing this for you guys. I want to help you on your journey. And then, I mean, you could pre-sell it. You could take pre-orders. People who have bought into your message will buy that sight unseen. You wouldn't even need to raise any money first. You could just sell it to them in pre-orders, take all that money, go buy the inventory, fulfill the orders, and you've made money without having to spend anything. So that was number one. I want to mention, so Errol has some really good comments on the Facebook page here on the hot seat. I just wanted to, so he's curious what the objections from the people in the groups were. And I think you may have explained that they're just so disbelieving of what you have to share that they don't even want you to share it. He says, if you find that there's an issue with your credentials because you're not a veterinarian, that people are not listening to you, he suggested if you can find an expert who is willing to listen to you and willing to, entertain the fact that you may be correct about a lot of these things that may be unconventional. If you can partner with an expert to kind of lend credibility to what you're saying, then all the objections disappear because you have someone else who's backing you up, who does have legitimacy in the space in the way that those doubters are looking for. So maybe keep your eye out for an opportunity. If you see someone in that type of position who's interested in what you're saying, maybe develop that relationship a little deeper and see if there's a partnership opportunity there. So that was you're nodding. That's good.
No, that's really great because there are researchers. I mean, a lot of what I've been doing too, I mean, so many hours researching is that, because I have all this free time. But in the research, there are a handful of researchers whose names keep popping up in everything that I'm finding that's supporting what I'm doing. So it's very, very timely advice. I'd never really thought about reaching out to them. But there are a handful because there are a lot of questions being raised. There are a lot of uncertainties, just as in human medicine. Science is always evolving. Things we thought we knew a year ago, 5 years ago, I mean, it's changing, and it takes the medical books decades to change. And so we're essentially using outdated advice. And when anyone hears that, and they've experienced a loss, because this stuff is devastating. I mean, I won't even get into the gruesomeness of what happens in late stages of these things, but it's not pretty. And so, like, you've gone through this traumatic experience, and then someone tells you that there's a way that you could have stopped it. I'm not personally, but someone's mentioning that, hey, there's a way through it without having to go through all those gruesome things that you went through. It's hard for people to accept that. So that's what happens. Mm-hmm. It's not so much, okay, well, you're full of it, because the stuff works on humans too. And it's, and there are treatments and things like that out for the human version of what's going on right now that have been used in cats for the past 6 years. So it's not new, but no, people have a hard time. Change is hard for everyone. And so I try to be mindful of that. I'm trying, I don't want to step on toes, but at the same time, there are people who really need to hear the message, who are ready to do something, who aren't getting answers, and who don't have tens of thousands of dollars to spend on experimental treatments for one animal. Mm-hmm. I mean, who realistically has that kind of money just sitting around in everyday life that they can just, I've got surviving ones that were just dumped on me because people they don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. It's just, so the solution that I'm providing also has a lot of emotion behind it for people who've had different experiences. And so that's why I want to create a space for the people who are in the midst of it and who need answers and who need solutions.
So it sounds like the people that you've experienced who have reacted really negatively, may have been people who have already gone through this and who didn't hear about you soon enough.
And you need to catch them before.
Right.
After.
So for you to tell them, oh yeah, all you needed to do was X, Y, Z, then they feel this tremendous sense of loss and guilt.
Yep.
They don't want you to be right because it means that they may believe that in some sense it's their fault because they didn't find you soon enough. So I can imagine why that would create some resistance. So I think that initially your target audience are people who did find you in time. So they found you in time to change the course of what's about to happen for the better. And I think that down the road, you can address the people who didn't find you soon enough if you kind of come about it from a very, very empathetic angle and come at it from the approach of, I'm so sorry that you had to experience the horrible loss that you did. And you mentioned you yourself have had some cases that were not successful. So you understand, you can empathize with that pain. And so if you can get them to empathize with you now and say, look, what you're trying to do is you want to help, somebody else avoid the pain that you're in. So you can kind of flip it, and you'd have to be really careful with the copy here, obviously, but, be very empathetic and say, look, I'm not trying to tell you that you were wrong or that you did anything wrong or anything like that. I mean, what's done is done. And what I'm trying to do is bring this new thing into the world to help the next person. And so can you help me help the next person? Can we save another cat and save another person's, state of mind of having to go through this? So I think with, again, like focus on your target market first. And those are the people who can be immediately helped. But I think that there will be a way down the road to kind of deflect some of the negativity and hate if you understand where it's coming from, and you could potentially turn some of those people into some of your biggest fans down the road if they see you solving the problem that they couldn't solve, and if they're willing to instead move forward and work with you to help other people, they may be some of the biggest advocates spreading your message to others.
I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, it took me a while to figure out why there was so much anger and so much resistance. I really did. I was just shocked. I'm like, I'm just trying to help. I mean, someone who's on their computer at 2:00 in the morning in tears because they're on a fixed income and they can't take their cat to a vet and the cat's like foaming at the mouth, and what do they do? And on the specific forum for this specific disease, I'm like, okay, I've been through this. Here, let me let me help A, B, C, D. And then I get all this hate mail and I get kicked out of the group, and it's just like, whoa, where'd that come from? I'm trying to help this person. What's going on? And then taking a step back and realizing, okay, this is personal. This is very personal to millions of people. And also I've been through other stuff. I've worked in prison camps. I've been shot at. I've seen people killed. I've seen enough to where and I've lost close to 200 cats that were either dumped on me or that I was trying to help save or whatever. I mean, it's been staggering with these diseases and stuff that I've come into contact with. So I guess you could say tolerance maybe is not the right word, but it's a little bit higher in terms of I know what's coming. I've been down that road, been there, done that. I know what's going to happen and I'm trying to stop it. So I'm not looking at it purely from an emotional sense. I'm trying to see it from a science sense. Like, okay, this is what happens this stage. This is what happens with this stage. So what can we do here to keep it from getting there? Like, rather than just, oh my God, I'm falling apart at the seams. I don't know what to do. I'm past all of that.
I think one of the things that's always important to remember, that when someone lashes out to you online, and the more anonymous, the more this is true, that has to do with them feeling screwed up, and not knowing how to deal with what they're feeling, and rarely has anything to do with you. And it's not always easy to remember, but that's the best way to look at it, because they're just lashing out. And if they felt good, then they wouldn't lash out, even if they disagree with you.
Because I've had such, I mean, the people who I've been helping, I mean, they've always come back. Like, it's been tremendously positive. So this is the thing. It's been polarizing. Like, it's either been shut down or, oh my God, thank you so much, for helping with my cat. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the money for all this stuff. And you really, you helped my cat get through the night, kind of thing. So I know I'm I know
if you know that that's something you can do for people, then like Greg said, I think what you need to do is try and figure out how you can find these people before everything is past the point of no return, and catching them early, rather than getting involved with people that have already gone through this process. It's already beyond they can do anything, and informing of the things they could have done. I understand why that's frustrating, because it's useless. It's not information that helps them with anything. So focus on helping the people that where it's still early enough. And I think, I mean, and maybe you need to focus a little bit on building on solving that first. Like how do you build a positive community? Because I think before you get to that,
yeah.
If you have a community where there's a lot of frustration, you're going to have a hard time selling them anything. And if you feel that a lot of your community is sort of lashing out at you, that's going to really wear on you as well. It'll be difficult for you to love on your customers.
Well, no, that's a very
Let me
good
jump
point.
in.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I hadn't thought about.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt real fast. I was actually going to throw this in, and Errol threw it out in the comments as well. Errol's like pacing my brain here, so thank you, Errol. He said, if you're getting feedback like you just mentioned about people sending you DMs, thank you so much, you helped my cat get through the night. You need to save those. You need to collect those, screenshot them, and have photos of all of these thank you DMs. And so, have you put where's your book available right now? Well,
the website was kind of screwy. I tried to put some stuff in there that it didn't work out. The coding didn't work right, but it's on a website, and I'm also emailing it to people and DMing it to people who asked for it.
Can you get it on Amazon through Kindle? Or if you're not sure, ask in the group, and I think there are people who have either done that or are doing that. But we could probably
KDP
help you.
Thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you can get that book published, you should do it. Put it on Amazon and have it be free, a free Kindle download. Take these reviews that you have, all these testimonials, put them as one of your listing images, so people see the cover of the book. Okay. And in one of the other pictures is this list of 20 people who have all DM'd you saying, thank you so much, you saved my cat's life. And so you don't have to. I haven't done KDP. I'm pretty sure it's free to put something up, but that's a free traffic funnel for you. So maybe somewhere in the book, you can be directing people to your group where they can find your group, and people are going to search on Amazon for these keywords. And at some point your book is going to pop up and they'll see it's free. They'll download it, they'll read it, and they'll be curious if this is going to help them. They'll find you, they'll go to your group. So that would be a really great way to disseminate the content that's going to help people and start to collect people into your group without having to spend money on advertising or having to learn about all these other platforms. So if it's not available on Amazon, and if you can make it available on Amazon without too much effort, let's work on that right away.
Sure, I do. I have it already formatted and everything, and I looked at the KDP. Like, I know from that newsletter that came out that was mailed, I think it was back in January. It was featuring a lady who was making money on Amazon doing the thing, and she mentioned about formatting things. So I've looked at that. The ebook is already formatted and everything for print specs. So it shouldn't be too hard to make a few tweaks to get that up. It's just simply something I got frustrated with. I got sidetracked trying to serve the wrong people, I guess, of looking at the people who were supposedly, the people who were frustrated, I guess, trying to appease the people that were frustrated instead of trying to work with the people who just simply needed help.
Mhm.
I was trying to make them, okay with me, I guess, to get their approval. And so
It's
that's
very
why I was
common.
focusing put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, I guess.
Yeah. No, I get it. I got a 1-star review the other day on one of my Amazon products, and it ruined my day. Even though that product has, this particular product, it's pretty new. It has like 55 stars, right? But that 1 star was so much more impactful. I was so upset about that for a moment. But really, like, if you spend all your time focusing on the people who you're having to argue with to convert, you'll never get anywhere. Instead, serve the people who are already listening to you. So it sounds like you've kind of realized that anyways, but it's very easy to get sidetracked by your detractors and haters. And I found that I don't make a lot of progress when I'm worried about that group of people. I really try to instead focus all my effort and energy on the people who are going to leave 5-star reviews and send you the DMs. Thank you so much for saving my cat's life. So
And see,
serve those people.
I know these things, but it's just, I guess it's just human nature. I just have to stop. I'm never going to make everybody happy. And I guess it's the attack on credibility and everything else, because no, wait a minute, I don't have a PhD, but by God, I have seen more cats die from these diseases than most people would see cats in their entire lives, period. So I know, it's like I've lived it, and I worked from home for the past 10 years. So I've been every day 24/7. I've been with them. I see what's going on. I see, it's not just 9 to 5, come home, throw some food down and go to bed. Like I'm in it. I am in it every single moment of every day, whether I want to or not, and so I took it too personal.
And exactly. And I think maybe to a certain extent, and that's where the other thing, I mean, I think Greg gave you some good advice. I think the other thing I would suggest you do is that when you find yourself in a thought loop, or you're trying to go down some avenue and you're getting frustrated, or it's not giving you the results, is reach out to someone in the 1% and just say, this is what's happening, and get them to sort of give you feedback, because you're so in the thick of it, it's very difficult to realize what you're doing sometimes. And having someone who's a lot less emotionally invested than you are to sort of look at what you're doing, they might be able to reflect back to you. This is, Tiffany, this is what I see that you're doing. And say, yeah, but that's not what I intended. But okay, but this is the way the rest of the world is perceiving it. And then you have an opportunity to sort of adjust and go back to what you really want to do. And what you really want to do, from what I'm hearing, is helping families be healthier through this particular lens of feline health and how that affects everything else. And if you can sort of attack it that way, like Greg said, build a community that where you can still help them, rather than educating people that have already gone through the process, right? You need to catch them at the beginning, not the end. And then this practical thing of getting the book out there, it's also going to help you with getting credibility, because it really doesn't matter. The moment that you have something up on KDP, you're a published author. That's it. That published author, published cat health author. You don't have to be an expert. You're just a cat health author. Greg and I have a top 30, because we reached number 29 in entrepreneurship on iTunes podcast.
For 10 minutes, but it was a 10-minute
Yeah, exactly.
window.
10 minutes. But that forever, we are a top 30 podcast. That's all it takes. If only to make the mind shift for yourself.
Right.
So
right.
you give yourself the permission to talk. And you don't spend your time thinking, if only I was a doctor, if only I was a vet, they'd listen to me. No, there's some people are going to listen to you and some people aren't. Just let it go.
Right. Well, that's the hardest part, is the credential thing of being around people who are super educated, who are the scientists who've risen the ranks through government and all of that stuff, and there's still that pull there of, wait a minute, my peers, most of them are finishing their PhDs now, and I'm at home raising kids on my own farm as a proposal writer trying to start a business. Like, it's a different path, and so I have to really let that go, is that the sense of achievement, the sense of accomplishment is not based on the pedigree of a school or a piece of paper. It's really being able to impact lives. So that, I guess you guys hit the nail on it. It's the duality of it. It's that I didn't go for the paper, I went for the experience. And that's been a bitter pill to swallow, because I'm on my third attempt at a master's degree and haven't finished because life got in the way. And so I've had that in my head about that, if I'm not educated, I'm not anything. And that's been a big thing holding. Again, it's all in my own head. There's nothing functionally that's stopping me. I mean, I've overcome a lot, and I know I've got a lot more that I can do and offer and contribute.
And you already know that it's not true, for the simple reason that if you would have pursued veterinary medicine, you would have been trained in a certain type of thinking, and then you wouldn't have been able to think about this feline COVID or any other kind of things, because that doesn't adhere to conventional thinking. So it would have been counterproductive anyway.
Tiffany, think of it this way. 5 years from now, after you've already created this successful business, it's made millions of dollars and saved tons of cats' lives and helped people in their own wellness and their family. So 5 years from now, after all that's complete, who will have helped more people in the world, you or your friends with the PhD?
Well, yes. That's true.
So you should be proud of that. You should be very proud right now of the potentially millions of people who you are going to help with what you are about to create.
And it's exciting to me. It is truly exciting. Oh my God, I can't even say how thrilled I am that I found, that I found all of you, that I found this community, because I was truly swimming in all of this. And I mean, I still have a ways to go, still a lot of tweaks, still a lot of development and growth. But I mean, just in the past several months, I mean, just Ryan's thing, if nothing else, just make some damn decisions. Well, God, I mean, of course, I just decide that this is what you're going to do. It may not be the end result, may not be the end path, but until you make a decision, just getting lost, it's easy for me to get lost in my own head. And this group has already helped me to focus so much. So I don't have to figure out the end from the beginning. And I have to give myself permission to really believe that. I don't have to have it all figured out. But you
exactly.
guys, I mean, but even the Amazon thing, I looked at it and then I stopped myself. Because, oh, wait a minute, what do I really have to say about this? I don't have a pedigree after my name. So
nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Anybody who does care isn't your target customer.
That's right.
Oh, well, yeah.
So one more decision, Tiffany. After we're done with this meeting, what's the one concrete thing that you're going to take from this meeting and immediately implement or execute or act on?
I'm getting a book on Amazon, and I'm starting a community. So 2 things.
Cool. If you need a hand with both or one or the other of those, you can ask for help in the 1% and someone will help.
And if they don't, let us know and we will bully someone into helping.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. This is so much. I'm glad. I was unbelievably nervous, but I knew I needed to get clarity, and it's really helped. I mean, straightforward and practical. I really appreciate it.
I applaud your courage. I know how nerve-wracking these things can be, and how difficult it sometimes can be to be open and vulnerable in these conversations. But the fact that you were able to be open and vulnerable is what helps to have a really meaningful conversation. And that's what's been amazing in all of these conversations we've had here on the hot seat is I'm constantly amazed at how open and vulnerable people are willing to be. And it's a privilege talking to people and figuring out how we can help them. So thank you as well for coming on and being open and talking to us about what's got you stuck.
Well, and thank you guys for taking your time. And I mean, yeah, God's universe, somebody must have been smiling because the kids have been quiet the whole time. So this has been great.
There you go.
This has been fantastic on all fronts. So I appreciate it.
Very cool. Okay, so thanks for coming on. Thanks everybody for watching. Errol, thanks for all the afterwards. Have a look at the comments because Errol really has gotten a couple of really good ideas that you should have a look at. And we'll be back in 2 weeks talking to my good buddy Gene.
Awesome.
Bye everyone.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks.
Thanks.